Welcome to Small Engines Galore. On today's video, we're going to be tearing into this free Peerless MST206 that we got because of this. Has a broken axle clip that holds the spider gear together on here. I believe these actually have two. Either they slipped off or they're broken. Either way, this axle slides out, so not good. We're going to go ahead and tear into this thing pretty quick here. And so, I guess, yeah, let's check this out. What you're going to need for this job, aside from a pair of snap ring pliers to get some new snap rings on the end of that axle shaft, all you really need is a 3/8 socket. In this case, I got it on an extension. You will need an extension for the middle one, I think, but middle two, but they're from underneath. So we're going to go ahead and bust all of these perimeter ones out and go ahead and take them all the way out of the transaxle. This right here is all of the bolts that were in the perimeter of this case. We're gonna go ahead and take these bolts out too because they're just spare mounting bolts that I kept from the unit. Anyways, they are all the exact same length that go around here, so they do not really matter. I believe on this transaxle all the bolts for mounting the case halves together are the same length, but I'm not sure about the center ones. We'll find that out after I go ahead, flip this thing upside down, and we'll take those center ones out. Right, so just a quick little tip here. Keep these shifters onto the shaft, because if you take this off, when you go to separate these case halves, especially if you take it apart with the sitting out like this, where you take the top half of the case off, that shifter shaft will stay with that bottom half of the transaxle. It will, because these gear sets will always stay down there too. And the way that these are designed, they got two forks or whatever that hook into that shift collar, and they are not going to come out the top. So it's going to stay with the bottom. Problem with that is that there is a shifting detent ball underneath here and a spring too, but the ball is what we are more worried about. And it will fall into your grease or gear oil. In this case, I believe this is a gear oil transmission because it has this plug right here for refilling. Not really sure though. Anyways, when that detent ball falls out, it's just not fun to find, and you do need it so that it stays in gear. So one thing that I kind of forgot to mention, because it's an optional tool, is a flat screwdriver, simply to separate these two case halves. These are RTV'd together. You can see that sealant right there. Especially on these gear oil ones, it's very important that they stay RTV'd. Anyways, when you run into a Spicer transaxle, they are not going to have any real good spot to get them open. So with those ones, you can go ahead and stick your screwdriver in a strong spot, like probably right here, knock it through that RTV and pry it apart. Peerless leaves you these amazing little slots right here that you fit a flat screwdriver in beautifully. And then you can go ahead, twist. Okay, you can see that's a little bit separated. Okay, that's it. See how that screwdriver's in there a bit? You can hear the RTV cracking. And that is the magical noise right there, that vacuum noise. All right, so if we just take a quick look at this, pull this out a bit and rotate this. Well, actually, you don't even have to rotate it. I'm gonna just wipe that off. Just like I thought, snap rings and bolts just kind of popped off the axle shaft. It's pretty common on these actually if you just side load it, especially if you're trying to get rusty rims off of these axles. These ones seem pretty clean. If you're knocking the wheel off the end of the shaft, lots of times they'll get rusted on here and they're going to be just amazing to do. So if you're working with a mower that potentially has rusty wheels, this video might be helpful for you in the fact that now you know how to tear the transaxle apart. And basically, your snap ring just goes in the groove. You can see kind of between that set of splines, and it just holds this spider gear right here on the end of that shaft. That's all those clips do. So super simple and awesome. I am just cleaning up some parts. So we've got these spider gears pretty decently clean. Still got to clean them up a little bit because there's still some gear oil on them. Anyways, I'm just checking alignment in this case because we ran into with that transaxle over there that the axles were not actually lined up in the case here's a little... Don't know if you guys can see that or not, but look at our height difference right here. Top of this one to top of this one. Anyways, what I'm looking at right now is that these ones are gonna sit close enough. Right, so for these peerless diffs that I've got these spline shafts on them. See the spline? Like a gear. Anyways, if you take these two C-clips off, there's a little gap right there, or like a little groove or whatever. We're gonna go ahead and weld this spider gear to that groove on the axle shaft so that it cannot move, because sometimes you'll go ahead and build a locker for these and it'll spin those splines on the shaft. It'll wreck the shaft splines and usually wreck that spider gear. And then your locker's toast, bro. So you better weld those together while you're welding stuff together. Why not? Gear oil is flammable, guys. Guys, I know this is not the definition of a good-looking weld, but whatever. It'll hold. Right, so now we have the center section back together with our welded axles. Just so everyone knows, this thing spins perfect right now, okay? We can spin this, and the ring gear spins totally straight. Axles spin totally straight. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get these first few tacks into this diff. You can see there's weld. That's just holding the spider gear on the axle. Don't worry, I haven't welded this yet, okay? It's open. Go crisscross from each other, if you can hear me. So once you've got your first few welds in, you can go ahead and do the same thing on the other ends of the spider gears. I just like to do them crisscross and like flip it over like I was just showing you, because it disperses the heat better and it tends to not warp these shafts near as bad if you really pour the heat to it, which this welder is turned up all the way. It's a Lincoln 180 MIG. So hopefully this will hold, but I'm going to show you some tips here that's going to make this really hold together. Once we're done getting all the spider gear welds together, we're going to weld some stuff on the inside that's going to help make this super strong. Hopefully. That's the idea behind it anyways. We have full spider gear welds, and check this out. Still spins totally fine. So now what you can do, go ahead, grab your center section. See, it's solid. You're gonna have some welding spatter in the case. See all those little bits of metal? That is gonna screw up in here, in your ring gear surface. So go ahead, clean that up good. Trust me, you'll thank me later when it doesn't screw up the case and the ring gear. All right, and check this out, guys. Still spins perfect. It's actually better now that there's no more welding spatter holding up the ring gear partially. So now your next step, we're gonna go ahead and remove this again. But we're gonna take this ring gear and pull it all the way off of your center section so we can do some welding in the center, hopefully. Okay, so there you go, guys. Here's what it looks like. Trust me, you'll know if you didn't clean up good enough, because it will show up once you're done welding in the center there where it holds the most heat. That's where the oil is going to be. Same thing with the grease transaxle. It's actually worse with the grease transaxle, but that's okay. We can go ahead, clean up this oil, and then let's do some welding in this center section here. So at this point, you're pretty safe to assume that the axles are probably not going to warp, at least not too bad, if it still spins straight, just like this one does, all right? Because it's like, yeah, everything still spins great in here, all right? So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be welding all in here. So axles to the center pin, right? This guy to this guy, and this guy to that guy. Then we're going to be welding the entire inside edge of this all the way around in here. when you're done welding the axles to the center pin, it's gonna look like this. Don't worry, all this smoke, it's gonna be fine. The door's open. And yeah, it's dark, it's late, but whatever. Now what you're gonna wanna do, make sure you clean these up again. Try to spin the center section in the stiff again. After every one of these steps, make sure your center section still spins in your transaxle and straight, right? Everything still spins good on this one, but that's what you want it to look like at the end here, where it's just all connected. Now we're gonna go ahead and fill all these holes, these gaps, and like just make sure you're hitting the spider gears. Make all of this just a ball weld, essentially. That's what we're doing here, boys and girls, whoever's watching. I know there's some girls watching too, so comment down below, I guess, if you want to. Again, yep, there's gonna be some welding spatter, guys. Clean it up. Then you can go ahead, reassemble your ring gear onto there, stick it in here and make sure it turns. Because if it doesn't, that's not good. Really, really not good. All right. Hopefully that doesn't happen here. I haven't even tested yet because I gotta clean that mess out first. So with the ring gear reassembled, look at this axle shaft, guys. That's bent a little bit. I don't know how much you guys can see that moving, but it's not straight. It's actually getting straighter as it's cooling off, so I'm just gonna leave this sit overnight, the center section here. Yep, I'm at it again, folks. Alright guys, so this should have been cooled down enough that we'll see whether these axles actually ended up straight or not. Nope, that one's still a little bit warped. Really not too bad, but just a little bit. Okay, well, what we're gonna end up doing here, I'm gonna go ahead and clean out any of these like chunks of welding slag or whatever out of the rest of this case. And we're just gonna go ahead and RTV all around in here. Make sure the surface is clean before you RTV so it sticks. And we're just gonna go ahead and reassemble this, make sure the thing turns, because it should be fine. We'll see though. Alright, I know I said we were gonna RTV this. For initial assembly, just to make sure we can see if this thing turns, we're not gonna RTV the gap. I'm gonna go ahead and put it all together, and then I'll pull it back apart to RTV it once I know that everything's gonna clear. Then we'll be good. Okay, got the center section back into this side of the case. We're gonna go ahead and stick this bottom half back on the top half. Make sure that everything works. Should be fine ultimately. I don't see any problems with this thing. It should be fine. The axle is a little bit warped. Oops, but it's staying in the axle shaft, like the groove or whatever that it fits in right here is staying within that, so it should be fine. All right, so this right here is a Chicago Die Castings 400A 4-inch pulley for 1/2-inch belt, in case anyone cares. Anyways, what you want to make sure you can do, you can grab it by your hand, and as long as you can twist it like this with one hand, you're probably fine. In my case, this actually cleaned out pretty good. I'm just a couple fingers turning it, and it's spinning this shaft, no problem, and it's in high gear. Okay, got her back apart and just about ready to stick some RTV on this half once I clean up all the oil that has spilled into the gap of this. And already, I only made a few rotations with this thing and tipped it forward, and this is already how much is trying to leak out. So now imagine when you're ripping this thing quick, like this gear oil is just gonna leak out with no RTV or whatever in there. It's just gonna leak out everywhere. All right, so now what we're gonna go ahead and do, we're gonna spread some RTV around here, and I'll show you the pattern once I'm done spreading it on this half, right before I plop it on this half of the case. But whatever, you'll see what pattern to go in, but I think you guys already kind of know because you've seen the factory stuff before I scraped like 50% of it off. All right, I know this is very thick layer. I said go thin, didn't I? Either way, whatever. It'll be fine. We're just gonna spread it out over all of these sealing surfaces so you can see anywhere that this is around here. You can see how wide they got the factory bead, literally that wide. So we're just gonna spread it all the way out to the bolt holes, and just on the inside of all these bolt holes is kind of where you want to get it. You know what? Once you spread it out, it ain't that bad. Come on, I only stuck a like 1-inch thick layer in this spot. It's okay, it was enough to spread over everything. Anyways, we're gonna take this, slap it back on here, throw the bolts back in, and in about 4 hours, 5 hours, we can go and stick it in the tractor, because I couldn't sleep, so I came out to film this video. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning right now. All right, guys, all back together. Do not worry about this. This was already oily before I even started, and that's actually oil from tipping it over on the side of the table. We'll clean up that brake too before we're like actually running this thing. I don't even know if that unit that it's going into, off-road machine, I don't know if he's even running brakes on it right now, so that could be interesting too. Anyways, I'm gonna go to bed now because I'm actually beginning to feel tired now. And we're gonna take this 4-inch pulley, put it up there for now. We're gonna slap Elliot's 7-inch pulley on here in the morning. All right, so now that we have our MST 206 figured out, we just pulled this transaxle out of our machine here. This one's called off-road machine. Anyways, this one was having some issues, so I figured we may as well build a 206 for this, and when this one popped up for free, why not? We're just getting some spacers sorted out for our wheels and tires, and so now they can sit wider than the quad rack, because this is actually about 1 inch wider than a Spicer 4360, which is pretty good. Just gonna go for a quick drive to make sure it's good. So yeah, I guess let's go. Seems to be working. I think probably fine. Yeah, those are good. Okay, so it'll stop eventually. Okay, so that's your clutch idler making that noise. Yeah. While you're driving. Anyways, looks like this MST 206 so far is a success. We'll let you know if we blow it up, because you'll know there will be a whole nother video on it, just like the constant videos of this thing blowing up. But I'm not really sure if construction sealant works as RTV or not. So far it seems fine. It's not leaky, but really who knows at this point. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully if you're still here, see you on the next video.